Hey y'all, I wanted to catch you up on all the work we've been doing lately here at the farm. We're getting into the end part of September. We've had on and off cool and tolerable and hot days, and the rain has been coming and going. So I just wanted to catch you up on the latest projects we've been working on. Aren't those elephant ears just absolutely stunning? I love them. So yesterday, Jim went up here to the top meadow and he plowed up a portion of the ground for me, which we're going to continue to plow several times. And this is right next to the tool shed, which will probably be coming down by this time, be gone maybe by this time next week. If you look way back in the back right here, you might be able to see some of the Rose of Sharon that we planted. They are greening up, but they're not blooming this year. Last year we cut back the pear trees that were 3 times as big as they are now, and we had a few pears come out, but then I think because we cut so much wood off, it sort of traumatized the trees. We've had pears on these trees before, and I think they're just taking a break this year after the severe pruning that we gave it. And over here is our fenced-in large veggie garden. And unfortunately, it went totally to weeds because it just literally overwhelmed me. But we are still pulling okra from it. I have one teeny tiny little loofah all the way in the back, that arch with the cattle panel, and it's about 1.5 inches long. And I have pulled off some miniature bird gourds. And this is our fruit tree orchard. We have apples, pears, plums, peaches, figs, mulberry, blueberry, thornless blackberry, and the patch all the way back in the back here, that's outside the fence. That's where we're doing our permaculture for wild blackberries. And over the past couple of summer months, we've had a couple of burn piles here. And they got pretty darn big and impressive. And over here, Jim had started digging the future pond just to see what he could do with it. And you can see the scar right over here where he started it. And then he's put the dirt over here and he's mixing mulch and other organics in there. And we have a wonderful neighbor who is going to offer us some of his horse poop. So we're going to go collect that and start distributing it in the dirt pile as well as the future wildflower garden, and probably in our future more organized raised bed garden in the future. And we've organized the greenhouse, and it's getting nice and put together, and we got 2 more shelves on the bottom to add back in. And this small garden, which was my veggie garden last year, just surprised me immensely because I had all kinds of orphan plants coming up this year and flowers, and my basil is just enormous. And we have some gorgeous wildflowers that I'm collecting the seeds from this year. And hopefully we'll be able to get them planted in the new wildflower garden last year. And Jim wanted a fig tree close to the chicken coop, so when they start putting fruit out, we could just walk a couple of steps away to pick the fruit. And, well, hello, Mr. Joe. We have 4 chickens. It's Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, and Mr. Joe. And they got a treat today. I cut up a cantaloupe for breakfast. Hello, Mr. Joe. Show us how pretty you are. Show us how pretty you are, Mr. Joe. I know, I agree with you. And there's Eeny, Meeny, Miny, and Mo. I couldn't tell you which was which. And you could tell that Mr. Joe's been doing his duty on these 3. And I think this is the one that is not putting any eggs out, because I get 3 eggs a day, and that's it. Mr. Joe, will you talk to your girlfriend that's slacking? Thank you. get her to understand what's going on. She needs to put more eggs out. Okay? So let me give you on a little bitty tour of our small, what I call the herb garden now. And we have a wonderful supply of mulch that costs us next to nothing to get delivered. And it's very convenient for all the plants we have and are planting. This tropical hibiscus died on me over the winter, and I put the pot out here, and darn if I didn't come look out 2 weeks ago, and it's growing again. So I guess you should never give up hope on plants that you think are dead. Got some spearmint. I got some heal all plant that some lovely ladies downtown at a natural store gave me for free. And then we've got our trees over here that we're working on propagating. This is a pawpaw tree right here. I think this is a sarsaparilla tree. That's, I forgot what it is. And then we have some red maple trees. Some of them don't look so good, but others are looking like they. We started off with 24, and I think we're down to 12. And we were gifted some purple magnolias, and all the leaves died on them right after we planted them in the buckets, and I'm hoping that they will survive. And then this one, I can't read the tag on it, but we're rooting for the trees to come back to life. Rosa Sharon that we missed planting at the end of the meadow. And then I planted spinach and lettuce, and and some early peas, and look at there. We got some fruit from the peas. I've already plucked about 12 or 13, so a couple of more and we'll have enough for dinner serving. And over here we had my rogue tomato plants pop up. And we also had some pumpkins and some cucumbers. And I could see I missed picking up some of the fruit earlier today that I came out here to pick. Some more of our zinnias and marigolds. And I want to show you one plant in particular. This is an amaranth plant. And it originated, I believe, I was told Africa, but I think it actually originated in South America, or they were both continents, I don't know. But the seeds can become a grain that you can make bread with. And so I'm just waiting for this to turn a little bit brown before I harvest it again. And we have some fennel here. And we have some rosemary, which I found out by accident is a hardy perennial. So these will come back year after year as long as there's not like a 20 degree below zero freeze. And here's some more of our little Tommy toes. I got to come out here and start collecting these that are turning so I could put them in the refrigerator or make some more tomato sauce. Look at that little bee going to town. You have at it, baby. And this is the yellow amaranth. So they come in, I believe, yellow, golden yellow, crimson red, and I think there's a greenish color one. But I'm sort of excited because I'm going to take all the seeds from this amaranth and place them up in the new wildflower garden up here where the groundhogs usually hang out. This is my basil. Now I've got sweet basil, which is what this is, and look at that, the bees love it. Hi there, baby. Don't be landing on me. And then over here is Thai basil. Jim actually likes to eat Thai fried rice, I guess is what it's called. And this particular Thai has a little snap to it. So there's a little bee. So what else have we been doing? Jim actually cleaned the barn out. So we have all the equipment. It's a little bit messed up again now, but the other day I could actually see the entire floor in here in the barn, and he cleaned out all the old scrap wood, and so we're doing well on that. And over here, I finally got my castor bean plants going, and the leaves and the flowers and seeds are poisonous, but they're sort of pretty, so I thought I'd plant them just for a little appeal here by the barn. And I've been trying to grow lavender, so I don't know if any of these plants here are actually lavender or not, but I guess we'll find out, because I think it takes 2 or 3 years for them to grow. And there's the beautiful castor bean flowers. They're pretty neat looking. You know, they are poison, but there's a method that you can extract oil from them, and the oil is not poison, and in fact it's supposed to be quite healthy for you and useful for you. So last couple of weekends, Jim got his handy dandy little John Deere tractor out, which is his favorite toy here on the farm. And he pushed and shoved and pulled some old logs we had cut down and were laying around the farm, and created a flower bed for me. And we've got all these perennial bulbs planted here now, and a couple of hardy annuals. We got I'm always at a blank when I finally get to the plant to tell you what the name of it is. This is a nice natural wild plant we picked up off the side of the road. We have all kinds of bulbs planted, and the only thing I've got left to put now is the daffodil bulbs. I think these might be lantana plants, and they're perennials. So we've got all this planted right along through here. And so next summer and spring, we are truly hoping that this entryway is just going to be popping with color. We have surprise lilies, we'll have daffodils, we have all kinds of other flowering perennial plants. We did plant a couple of azaleas, and the deer started immediately chewing on this one and this one. So we brought out some garlic peels and chopped up garlic, and threw it around. Look at that. They're actually sprouting. I'll be darned. And then we also put some rosemary plants on either side of the azaleas, and we're hoping that that will detract the deer from trying to chew on the azaleas in the future. And this last spring, I had put it out some begonias and some periwinkle, and it seems to have taken off. The begonias, I probably could have brought some more fertilizer out here and they'd have gotten bigger, but they do well and they're okay in the shade, and the deer don't eat them and the rabbits don't eat them, so we're good to go. And we've got some red hot poker plants. Oh, we missed one, getting it buried. And I have all kinds of tropical, not tropical lilies, but big Asian lilies. Now over here, this is going to be a future labor of love. I did have my wildflower garden right about here to about right up in here, and we had it roped off to keep the deer from eating everything, and they did anyway, and it was just full of black-eyed Susans last year. But this year I decided I'm going to start propagating plants that will help me create a tea garden. So any plant that could be used as a tea to drink is going to start going into this. And what was really amazing is when we were plowing this up, the dirt was just dust. I mean dust, like the Dust Bowl back in the Depression era dust. So we brought in a lot of mulch to sort of start breaking down, and I have planted some butterfly bushes here, so they will hopefully grow quite well and start drawing in the bees and the butterflies. And we have a bee hotel. We drilled a bunch of holes in an old log to encourage the carpenter bees to be over here instead of over at our house. And I had one butterfly bush that I planted, and it had too much shade, so I transplanted it. It looks like it might survive anyway, despite being in the shade. And then I have a bunch of spearmint here that I'm propagating, and it's really interesting because some gardeners say, "Oh, you don't want spearmint in your garden or in your yard because it spreads all over the place." And me, yeah, I do want my spearmint to spread all over the place. It's just going to be wonderful to be able to come out here, clip a couple of leaves, and have a cup of spearmint tea. Another project we completed this summer was to clear out all the woods along this area of our yard. And I think we essentially cleaned out maybe 2 acres of woods. And we left enough trees up, the hardwood trees, that would enable us to have some shade. And we're just waiting patiently for this particular patch to regrow some grass. And while we were at it, we love magnolia trees. I know some people don't, and they're like, oh, you know, they leave a bunch of trash on the ground. Well, you can mow it. It doesn't hurt anything. So we did plant a magnolia tree or 2 that we've been propagating for 3 years in a pot. And so it was about 6 inches tall when we planted it, and now it's probably about a foot tall. And if the growth continues and the deer don't eat it, then we should have some beautiful magnolia trees here in a couple of years. And we planted some red maple trees that Jim got from the hardware store that he just loves so much. And we got one. Here's the second one. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling here, but there's a lot of potholes still around this area. And we have a 3rd red maple tree. And over here, this was all wooded and just overgrown to unbelievable proportions. And I think it took us 2 months of weekends to finally clean it all out and then burn all the trash wood. And this tree's turning out, look at that, beautiful. It's almost 2 feet tall. So that's going to be gorgeous, especially when we're viewing it from our kitchen window up right there. And then this area we call soggy bottom, because it never just quite dries out. There's a lot of rainwater that drains down the hill towards this area and towards the creek that is right behind the brush there. And then the next project Jim just finished 2 weekends ago that we're really, really proud of and can't wait to use on a regular basis is the new deck. So here he is. Say hi to the crowd and show off your deck. So this deck was a three-month project, I'm sure. And we had to have the inspector out 3 times or 4 times to look at the footings and everything.
Look for the holes.
Yep.
For the concrete
Pilings.
framing, extra mud and pipe, then new holes, new framing, and new deck.
Yep. So we have the hummingbird feeders hung out here around the doors, but it's getting too late. I think they're all gone for the season, so we're going to be taking them down in about probably next weekend, if not today. But I'm so excited to show you guys all of our new projects here at Two Dogs Barking at the Moon.